Welcome to One on One, the Daily Items digital program featuring Susquehanna Valley newsmakers interviewed by Daily Item reporters. Today's guest is Sunbury City Councilman Josh Brosious, interviewed by Francis Scarcella.
Welcome to One on One. I'm Francis Scarcella with the Daily Item. We're being joined today with Councilman Josh Brosious, also Shikellamy teacher Josh Brosious, Shikellamy cross country and track coach Josh Brosious, and you seem to be just all involved in the community. But let me first start by saying that everybody came in with their masks on, and we are socially distanced. There's two cameras. He's on one side, I'm on the other, and we are nowhere near each other. So with that being said, a lot of things going on in your life and a lot of things going on inside the city.
Yes.
So let's get down to that first one right out of the gates with the resignation of Jody Ocker, the city administrator who decided at the last council meeting almost 2 weeks ago to read a resignation letter and say she does not want to come back for another contract. So tell me what you know about that. She said a lot of things in there. Didn't really name anybody, so I think it kind of left more questions than answers. So tell us about that.
Well, I know the mayor put something on the Sunbury Facebook page about getting comments about the position, and a lot of public feedback has been on that. I personally, about the position, I think it's needed within the city if the position is utilized correctly. I mean, we have to have a set to-do list what we want that position to do each and every day, and I think that's also going to vary from councilman to councilman. I know some councilmen are more hands-on. I know more are more hands-off, just want to know what's going on. So I think from the very beginning, whoever replaces her, we got to have a set, hey, for each councilman, this is what I'm looking for in my personal department, and just so that person has a better understanding. And we also have to know that person, like, they're not a councilman, they're not an elected official, that they need to answer to the council. And also they need to realize that any decisions are made, it comes back to council. And no matter what happens, whether it's a good decision or a bad decision, council has to answer for that position. So as long as the position is being utilized correctly, I believe it's a very important position that the city could use to grow the city.
With that being said, she had said that it wasn't a good fit. What's your opinion of that?
I mean, we know as adults, individuals, professionals, that opinions are going to be different from every individual. But as adults, we also got to remember that we're here for the city, we're here for the taxpayers, we're here for the citizens, we're here for the community. So we got to put our differences aside and work together to bring our differences together to come up with the best solution for the city. So not being a best fit, I mean, those are things that we need to put aside our own egos and say, hey, we are here for the taxpayers of Sunbury, and we got to figure out what is best. So I hope coming in the new position with the new individual that we can put our egos aside, everybody on council, even that position, and work together as a government body to make the best decisions for the city of Sunbury and their citizens.
Well, that's one thing that you do because you kind of vote your own way and do your own thing. So I know you wanted to address that. So let's get right out with the police department because that's been a kind of a hard no from the beginning. So tell us the reasons behind the police department.
Well, I'm not against them getting a new department, but I am for them getting it smartly for the taxpayers of Sunbury. Ultimately, the taxpayers are going to pay this bill for this department. And as I said from the very beginning, I'm going to do what is best for the taxpayers, best for the community. Now, if you ever question what I'm doing, make a meeting with me. I'll sit down and explain why I'm thinking the way I'm thinking, and then we can have the conversation about differences of what I see, what you see, and we come to a common ground. But as I said from the very beginning, I'm not going to pass the tax burden off of that department on to the taxpayers. From the very beginning, I said we got to get tax money. We have to get, not tax money, we have to get grant money, funding, other than taxpayer. And so far, when we approved that building back in February, we have not seen or gotten one single grant towards that department. And I will not pass any type of bill on to the taxpayer. I said that from the very beginning, and I'm going to stick with that. We cannot be doing this to this taxpayers of Sunbury. This happens all over the state, all over the country, that we just like, oh, well, it's only 30 years. But 30 years is a very long time to pay on something, and we don't know what's going to happen in 30 years.
Have you been inside the building? Do you know the plans that they're doing or anything like that? Have you?
I saw the original plans, but I know there have been changes to that since then, and I have not seen them. I mean, going off what Councilman Eicher said, that I'm not aware of any type of changes at all. So I am interested to see what those changes are and how that's going to affect the bill of this building overall.
And again, all the way through, if there's no grant money, you're just not for it.
I am
being that way. You're for a new building,
yes,
but being done in a different way.
Correct. Like I said, if we need to get the maximum grants that we can to pay for this building, so it's the least amount of burden on the taxpayers of Sunbury.
And as far as your voting, you vote your own way. So tell us about that, because I know you hear sometimes various
Yeah,
things.
so as I said from the very beginning, I'm going to do what's best for the taxpayers. Some people may say, well, he's voting for this group of people or he's for this group of people. No, I'm going to vote my own way. I do not have my own hidden agenda that I want to get my own personal projects done. No, I am here for the betterment of the community, because if Sunbury thrives, all the surrounding areas thrives. The Shikellamy School District thrives. Northumberland, Upper Augusta Township, all the townships around us do good. So I'm here for the people, not for myself, not for my own personal projects that I think need to be done. I'm here for what is best for the community.
Is that the reason why you ran in the first place? And since that time, what have you seen in city government? Because you're new to the game, so what have you seen in your short amount of time so far?
Well, that is one of the reasons why I ran. I want to better this community. Like, I grew up here. I went to Shikellamy, graduated, went to college, came back here, teaching here. I want to be here. This city has a lot of opportunity. I just think we got to capitalize on that opportunity. And what was the second part of that question? I forget. Sorry.
What have you seen so far in city government?
I mean, in city government, there is a lot of behind-the-scenes things that people don't see in the public. And by you coming to the meetings, that's how you find out what is going on. I mean, most of the time you come to a meeting, it's just voting, yes or no, that's about it. But if you really want to know what's happening, you gotta get down there. You gotta ask the questions. You gotta see, hey, why are you doing this? Why is this happening? Why is this not happening? So there's a lot of things that people don't realize happen behind the scenes. And if you really want the community to thrive, to do better, you need to get down there and get involved and find out what's happening and why it's happening.
And with that, we'll be right back. We'll talk COVID-19, 2020, new projects, and then maybe a special surprise or two question. So we'll be right back. All right, we're back with Councilman Josh Brosious, teacher Josh Brosious, and I already said all what you've been doing in the city. But tell us about this year, first year in politics, and COVID-19 strikes. What have you seen as far as the city and how they reacted to it, what they did during this pandemic? Tell us all your thoughts on that.
Well, first coming on, no one saw this coming. So I'm like, all right, here I go. I'm ready to go. But then everything gets shut down. So it kind of put a dampers on what you can do, who you can reach out to. But I thought the city overall did a very good job on trying to protect the citizens and protect its city employees. I mean, they do, even still now, I know a lot of things have changed since back in March and really got bad, but we still wear the mask, we still have hand sanitizer, we still do daily cleans. So I think the city is doing a very good job to protect its employees along with the citizens of Sunbury.
I mean, the city did have a rough year so far as coming out in December with this closing of the Sunbury Community Hospital. UPMC decided to shut that down. And then shortly after, everything around up in the hospital's area there has shut down. And then Glen Raven, the silk mill, has closed down as well. And then COVID hits. So it's been a kind of a tough year for Sunbury. Do you see is city council or you personally starting to feel that effect now and have plans to do something about that for the area? Are you out there talking for various businesses to come in? Glen Raven is the site. I know everybody's talking about it. Can you tell us anything about anybody coming in there or anything like that?
Well, I don't know quite all the details about if someone is coming in there directly, because obviously the city doesn't own the property, but I do know that Glen Raven is talking with the city to make that an opportunity for business to come in there. And I know within the next couple weeks or so, I don't know exactly the date, that Glen Raven's going to make an announcement what they're going to do with that property. And I believe down the future, I mean, people understand that it's not going to change overnight. But I believe with the talks with Glen Raven and possibly what's happening here in the future, I think is a good opportunity that could help the city of Sunbury. And going based off the hospital, I know that was very tough in the beginning of the year at that closing. I've been reaching out to different individuals to see what they'd like. I mean, I've contacted different organizations about, how I felt it could be a good use for that facility up there. I'm just waiting to hear back from them. I know right now, COVID, it's hard to get a hold of anybody because, people are working from home, they're not in their offices. But hopefully, we hear some good news from that location to benefit the city of Sunbury.
And with that, I mean, you're not one of those people who says there's, we're in talks, we're secretly talking. If you have something, you pretty much come out and say it. And that's what you said you were going to run on, was the transparency part of it. So
yes.
If something were to happen in Glen Raven, obviously you'd be the first one to yell from the rooftops that you're getting something in here, because you've been kind of an advocate for all those businesses. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, like as soon as we can legally say what we can legally say, I'll be the first to sit down and tell anyone, hey, this is what's happening, and it's going to be good for the city. And once we find out those details, I know Glen Raven has things happening. We just don't know the full details right now. And once we do, happily tell anyone what's going on.
Shikellamy and the city decided to work together, which kind of puts you in a funny spot, because not only are you a coach, but you're a teacher and you're a city councilman. So you follow the school board, you watch the school board, you saw that they wanted to up it, you were all for it then. Then the city meets and the city decides to do it. What are your thoughts now that judges ruled, Governor Wolf's mandates have been deemed unconstitutional, and it's pretty much wide open, is what they're saying. So what are your thoughts now about opening up the stadium and just moving on with life, especially coming into wrestling and basketball seasons where you're going to be indoors? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I believe that we still need to be safe at these events. I believe that we still need to be taking precautions. I mean, it's not like this virus just went away. I also, we need to, my personal opinion, I think we should be wearing masks, whether we're inside or outside, if you can't keep that 6 feet of social distancing. I mean, we have to think of the well-being of the public and the community, and whether you're coming into Shikellamy as a spectator or there as a home spectator, we still need to be safe.
Are you good at 500, or you say open the doors?
I mean, I think the school district has to be one to determine that, because they know what the seating capacity is. As long as they feel safe, they can have a safe number there and the community is safe, along with the spectators, the fans, the coaches. I'm for whatever number they feel comfortable with.
How about inside now when it comes to basketball? I mean, that was a 25-person.
Makes it kind of tough.
Yeah, it makes it kind of tough. So what are your thoughts on that? Obviously, I'm sure, full capacity may be tough, but are you still open to at least maybe 250 people inside that gym, which holds, 3,000 or whatever?
Yeah, I'm up for that. Like I said, as long as we can keep the social distancing or wear a mask, whatever the school district comes up with, I'm all up for that, because it's about doing what's right. I believe having spectators there, whether it's your grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, whoever it may be, it's about doing what's right. And make sure that they're there knowing their athlete is competing safely. I think that's the right thing to do for the community.
So with 2020 already being a wash, pretty much 2021 is coming, and I know that you have spoken to City Council about bringing a promoter into the city of Sunbury. So tell us about that in your words.
What I'd like to do is bring someone in to sell the city. We have many different events that happen in the city. I want to make them bigger. Like, for example, we have music in the park right now. A good crowd of people come down there. Let's change it. Let's change it to music on the river, so we get some vendors down there. People can bring their boats down there, listen to the music, enjoy the evening. Or we have the great riverfront. I mean, we do a few events down there throughout the year, but let's do more events down there. Let's bring people into the city. Let's have entertainment throughout the city every weekend or every month. Something's going on. So that's why I hope happens with this promoter, and hopefully, council approves something like this. I know we just talked about it. I mean, it's just in talks right now, but I hope it passes through council so we can tell the people in the surrounding areas how great the city is and all the things we have to offer for the city.
Is that something you would want to work with them hand in hand on pretty much then and go around?
Yes, like I said, I think that's something that all councilmen and the mayor, whoever it may be, hey, I have a good idea. Hey, take it to the promoter, tell them what your vision is, and boom, have them go with it, have them grow with it.
Speaking of that, and we will end on this note, and it's coming into 2021, is Mayor Brosious in the future?
I can't say yes, and I'm not going to say no. That's still a few months away yet, but if I do, you'll be the first one to know, Francis.
I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. Councilman Josh Brosious.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching One on One. Be sure to tune in again for another edition.